Welcome back to Series 3 of the 2022 Fiftyfaces Podcast. While Series 2 was about taking a stand, in Series 3 we are doing some critical thinking about the value added of active management, the robustness of sustainable investment terminology, the role of politics, the opportunity in Africa. We hear about diverse backgrounds.
I went to school and started as majoring in theater and dramatic arts, and I wanted to be an actor.
I studied classics, and I became a classics major and ended up teaching for 7 years.
I moved out to the Middle East to join my parents and landed a job reading the news in Bahrain.
We critically examine the burgeoning area of sustainable investing and greenwashing by industry.
Distinguishing between truly green change and greenwashing is a key component of a sustainable transition. There's plenty shapes of green, and unfortunately we see all of them, but we see also a lot of greenwashing because there's plenty of incentives to be perceived or to portray yourself as green. There's increased consumer demand, better hiring processes, better access to finance, and so on. For example, the EU did a check of websites against consumer law to identify greenwashing, and they found that half of green claims lack evidence. It's quite shocking.
As well as the massive increase in products allocated to the sustainable equity area.
Lots of people ask me, is there too much money chasing green opportunities? Problem is there's not enough money. If there was too much money, we'd all be heading to net zero, and we're nowhere near net zero.
We speak about the boom in digital assets.
The longevity of returns in this space is going to be longer than people anticipate. There will be bubbles created in portions of this market over time, but there is so much money flowing into it and so much potential utility for a lot of the NFTs in the gaming and metaverse space that I think we're still a ways away from any explosion of this marketplace in terms of a bubble popping.
And ask whether investors fully understand how to assess value.
People just don't seem to get a grasp on the probability of outperformance, either by picking stocks or by picking funds.
We also ask whether investors know where to spot opportunity.
If you look at Africa, you have to think outside the box of looking how things can be 10, 15 years down the road and how that innovative structure or something that's different. One of the things when I look at Africa, I look at agriculture and I look at finance.
We look at the role politics plays in setting policy around the industry's diversity.
And it wasn't really until I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, and had an opportunity to work with all mayors of the city of Atlanta that I really learned about the nexus between political power and economic power, because they all insisted on inclusion in terms of how the city of Atlanta went about its business.
And as always, our guests reflect on the creeds of their lives.
Carpe diem, seize the day, and don't be frightened of taking risks or facing challenges.
I come from a family of strong women, so I was never given the idea that there was anything you can't do.
Trying to be flexible and to meld work and family together is the best way to try to exist in almost all situations.
So from later this week, join us for the launch of Series 3 of the 2022 Fiftyfaces Podcast. You can find all of our content on the Fiftyfaces Hub, together with coaching videos and other resources to enhance your career. Series 4 is brought to you with the kind support of Federated Hermes Inc., a leading global investment manager. Guided by their conviction that responsible investing is the best way to create wealth over the long term, their investment solutions span equity, fixed income, alternative and private markets, multi-asset and liquidity strategies, and a range of separately managed accounts distributed through intermediaries worldwide.